Okay, welcome to today's session on best practices. It's just a 30-minute session today, so we're going to show you some samples of some of the cool stuff that we see our customers doing. And this is specifically we set up for our United Way customers. You know, we have 450 United Way customers, which is a whole bunch. And you guys do some really cool stuff. So we're going to share some unique things that some of our customers do and just to maybe stretch your brain a little bit to think about, oh, I didn't know I could do this, or I didn't know I could do that, so that you're aware of some of the cool functionality that exists within the platform that you have. So I'm Allison James. Emily is on with me as well. Say hello, Miss Emily.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday.
Yay, Friday. All right, we're just jumping right into this. Most of the time, I'm gonna bounce from screen to screen to screen and show you stuff. So holler if there's anything in particular you're looking for, like, hey, does anyone do this, or does anyone do that, or how do I do this, or how can I make this prettier, or, you know, just go ahead and ask. We're real casual. Ask us anything. So I have this site up as my first sample go-to. This is United Way of Greenville County, and you'll see, of course, we have different designs, and everyone has a different platform, which is fine. You right away might notice they have an animated piece in here. Now, they paid and had that built, and I think we even did some custom programming to get it in place, so it is kind of slick. So that's just something they have. But actually, the reason I have their site up is I want to show you their menu. Now, for those of you who have this structure menu or a similar structure menu, you might have the ability to place menu pictures, menu images. Is that what we call them, Miss Emily?
We call them menu image page items.
Menu image page item, yeah, something like that. So it looks really good. And so if you have this particular theme, I think this is the primary theme that does have the images. It is a nice layout, but a lot of our themes do have this ability to do with the structuring on the menus. Now, you may or may not have a website design that has this functionality. The newer designs definitely do, where you can have your header and your pages underneath. So it's a best practice, and it's a nice practice for you guys to keep in mind. This is cool that I don't have to, like, click on a menu item and then click on the next tier and then click on the next tier. I see it all in one go. And organizing your menu and having it, you know, well organized and in categories is easier for people to find things. If you ever get that complaint from folks that say, can't find anything on your website, the other thing, you know, hopefully you have your search able and visible, not invisible, and you're encouraging people to use the search feature. It is helpful. The other item that I encourage you to think about, especially in our mobile responsive world. So if I take this website, or really any of our websites, to a mobile view, the menu up here, you know, it lays out so nicely right here on my PC and on my computer. It will still have that tiered effect with the hamburger menu when I go to a phone. So that becomes like a little bit more harder to find things on the phone because I got to go through the old-fashioned layers and steps. So this is the trick, folks. And if you have a website design that has footer menu items, that's why sometimes when you go to a website, you'll see really long footers. Why is that? Because when I'm on a phone, these stack. Check this out. So I have the whole top turned into a hamburger menu, and I do have to dig to find the things. So that's a little bit more cumbersome. But as I scroll down to the bottom, guess what's stacked up down here? That menu. So really, really important links, go-tos. If you have a footer menu, and I know not all sites do, but if you have a footer menu, a good practice is to go ahead and place really important and key items, at least the ones that people are contacting you about. The other thing is hopefully you're looking at your Google Analytics code and your Google Analytics reports, and you're seeing your biggest traffic items. Those should definitely be in your footer menu. Just be checking your Google Analytics and seeing, you know, how many people are looking from a mobile device, what are the top hits, all of that kind of stuff is going to help you along in your website journey. All right, moving on. Fox Valley United Way, another different design. This is the fun part of this is everyone has different sites. So I actually brought this one up, and if you have this particular theme 2, it's one of our newer themes. Also has the ability to have that staggered out menu. And we can adjust on those. But their individual buttons at the top can be repurposed, as can these buttons here. So what I thought was neat with these guys is that they have this annual breakfast coming up, and they featured that on the top. Another nice thing that they did with this site, and with any of your sites that have any kind of layout like this, some of our sites come with a picture upload box for the top portion. And in this particular design especially, you really want a picture at the top of every page. It really just, otherwise all of this slides up and it's just kind of a blah page. It really adds a nice color. And having someone do some nice graphics is a great graphic. The graphics make your site, and having that consistent look and feel and holding to your branding is always a good idea. So they have their annual breakfast, and they have their online registration, and people are registering for that right here through the site. Simple background on their page for this one. Okay, let's see another sample. Oh, I know why I pull. I'm like, why did I pull these guys up? I pulled these guys up because some of our designs now have that donate feature right on the front, or this is something you can add. This design actually did not come with the donate feature on the front, so they paid custom programming to move it here. But they really liked it, and what's cool about this concept of these three boxes right here is if I click that I'm going to donate $50, it actually ties to the impact field, and they have punched into here what that equates to. And then if they donate it, they actually have a campaign widget that will update right here in numbers for a specific campaign. So I know specifically that United Way of Santa Cruz County was actively using this for the back to school drive for their Stuff the Bus, their backpack drive. And this number was equating to helping you succeed in school. So kind of a neat capability and concept in this particular design. All right. Okay, a couple things with this site here. One is, I thought I would point out to you, for those of you who don't know it, Google Translate is available to add to anyone's website for free. You'll hear some people say it's not the best tool, but most people say it's not bad. Obviously, it doesn't translate words that are embedded on pictures, like it won't change Heart of Gold Award dinner to Spanish because this is an image, but it will take care of all the words on the site. So definitely wanted you guys to be aware that all it is a support ticket into our team to ask for Google Translate to be added to your website if that's something that interests you.
And I'm going to jump in.
Yeah, go ahead.
You have the ability to pick and choose the languages. So if you don't need, all of those languages in the dropdown, maybe you only need Spanish and Russian. Or we had somebody who needed Thai because they did large Thai, population in their area. You don't have to have all of those languages. You could just, limit it to like 2 or 3 that people choose from as well.
They must have chosen these, though, because that's definitely not the full list, but it is an interesting collection of languages.
It is.
But all right. It is. So here's something that I wanted to share with you guys, because I really like what they've done here with United Way of Western Connecticut. They have 2 sub-themes with us. If you haven't heard of a sub-theme, let me tell you what this is, because I think it's just a pretty neat concept. More and more, as we're talking to our United Ways, you guys are adopting your own programs. So you have a program that you house through your United Way office, or something that's very near and dear to the work that you're doing, that you're very involved with. So imagine that you don't want to get another website for another program or get a website for another thing, but you want it to have its own look and feel and not just be pages on your site. So they have a couple of these. So my next 2 tabs are actually their sub-themes. And you'll notice that their website address is uwwesternct.org. And when I go to the next URL, it's also uwwesternct.org, but it's CSTC, which is Stanford Cradle to Career. And I think there's an external URL that drops them here. So this is actually a page on the same site. They log into the same site to edit it, same thing. But look at this. It totally looks different. So let me just go back. This one was more gold. And it has the same structure, more or less. Put the logo at the top. They kept their Google Analytics. But their menu is now blue, and it's an entirely different menu. So this is a custom programming project. It's actually pretty reasonable. You have your own homepage look for your sub-theme, and your internal pages have their own look for their internal pages. and you have one website, you have one annual fee, you log into one place to do all of it, and then there's other site, this one they just launched, is Danbury's Promise for Children Partnership. So this is their own one, and this one has the colors for that organization, purple, but one design, one website. I think that's an interesting capability for you to know that is out there. All right, moving on. I've been showing this a lot lately, so odds are you might have seen this if you've been to many of our webinars, but I still think it's a cool event. This is our Over the Edge Rappelling event. It's a fundraiser for United Way of Reno County and Hutchinson, Kansas, coming up here June 2nd. I think they are having a harder time this year getting people to jump off the side of a building. Gee, I don't know why. But each person who rappels off the side of the building is asked to raise $1,000, and they each have their own crowdfunding page that they will put out into social media. So if you're doing any kind of fundraising, a couple of things to note about our fundraising system and what the system has the ability to do is, of course, we can create crowdfunding pages. You can have cool backgrounds. You can have direct URLs to them. You can encourage people to put it out on social media. And then you also have the ability to have that thermometer tool. So the thermometer tool, which shows how much money is being raised at any given point in time and will drive people to the fundraising effort, is referred to as a widget by us. That's what we call it, this widget. The widget is embed code, and know that this actual code here could sit on your local newspaper's website. It is exportable. We've had organizations who have businesses who are doing a special fundraiser or even campaign-oriented stuff, that they're able to see how it's going by having that embedded on their site. And when they click the link, it goes from their website to your website and provides them more information. So something interesting to show. Okay, a couple more samples. See, I got a screen full of samples. I think Emily has a few too. Just to let you know, there is a store capability. We don't have them already preloaded on your site, but if you do have simple sales that you're trying to do through your website, T-shirts, the United shirts, and you're going to sell them, that it's called an Uber cart, and we can add that feature, the basic Uber cart feature for you if you have a need for something along the lines of selling actual product. Do you have anything to say on this, Miss Emily? You know more about Uber cart than I do.
It does require our team to help you set it up. So there is a little bit, I would say, and this comes from me, who had a little bit of a learning curve having to figure out how this all works too. But there's a little bit of a learning curve. So if you are interested in setting up a store, you can send in a ticket, and our team can help you set up a basic store. And then I can always come in and create like little tutorials or little training videos, or even meet with you one-on-one to make sure that you know the ins and outs of how to create those products and make sure that they are sitting on like your store page as well.
There you go. Cool. Thank you. Okay, next sample. So this one is actually a texting sample, but it's using the fundraising pages on the website. This was supposed to be the oldest high school football game in the United States. It's in Texas, the biggest rivalry or whatever. And they had, during this Friday Night Lights type football game, they had two different text-ins. One was the text-in if you were supporting the Yellow Jackets. The other one was texting in and donating if you support the Bearcats. And then they had it updating as the campaign was going on. So definitely kind of a cool way of engaging people and doing some fundraising right through the website. They were announcing it throughout the game. So I thought that was neat. Okay. United Way of Greenville County, this is an app. I do want to mention to you that we do app services and can build an app for you. And you're going to hear more and more coming on apps. There's definitely some new stuff out there in the app world that is going to be evolving for all of us, I think, in the very near future. And it's really exciting. So hang in there on that one. All right. This is a contribution page that is, it has had the header removed. It doesn't look like the website anymore. It's actually Center County United Way's website, but AccuView's in their backyard, so I think AccuWeather would like to have a donation page, and so they're running it through United Way, but we've removed some logoing things and stuff like that. We've had a number of United Ways who've done fundraisers that are regional, and it's like maybe 4, 5, or 6 United Ways, and they're like, well, we kind of need our name off of it because we're just running it for a group. So I want you to know that that's possible. I actually have another sample of that up here. This is a state-combined charitable campaign. So again, they didn't want just their United Way name on it. They put a background on, and we removed those headers and the side buttons. So a couple things that could be done if you have something that you're like, somehow we need to declassify it just a little bit. The URL will still give you away, but people don't necessarily pay attention to that. So if you have any needs for something like that, that capability exists. Okay, here's a cool application. This is a really cool application, actually. So this is a tutoring application. It's pretty big. It's got a lot of stuff on it. What they have done here is they are doing a collapsible form. So they have each section. If these were all opened up, if you've ever had a web form on your site that like was crazy long and kept going and going and going. So this one has just sections, and they can click through and work through the sections. Also, just a reminder on our web forms that you can save them and come back and finish editing them, or the people who are filling them out, you can have them savable as a draft, and then they can come back, finish it, and submit it when they're done. But this is a pretty big form. Also on forms, you can do things, and the survey pieces, I always like them. You can do things like redirect people after they've done the form to a payment page. We've had ones where they've had to pay for a background check and they need to submit $10 for the background check or something like that. So, okay. The form capability is actually pretty cool. I think we have a lot of online, I didn't even pull up any online agency applications, but of course we have a lot of those as well. The pledge cards, it's that time of year. We're definitely getting a lot of requests for pledge cards through the website. Getting your basic standard pledge card in place first with whatever standard questions you want, and cloning it and setting it up for each company, and then giving each company their own URL and promoting it throughout your campaign season so that you capture that data and you give them back the reports. We did a whole session on pledge cards earlier this week, so that's just my quick sample. Lots of online fundraising competitions. We've had the voice competitions, we've had dancing, we've had idols, we've had cardboard boat races, adult proms, 5K runs, senior proms. I've had all sorts of different things. So just keep in mind you can do that. We got flood relief disaster stuff. So here's another one where they've changed the background out. This is Louisiana. A flood campaign that they had coming directly to this page. It's been cleared is all, but this did raise money. So they set it up for an employer who wanted to have their own fundraising page and see their own thermometer and how much they were raising for the disaster. Another one who's done a lot of that, let's see, is that the next one? It is Genesee, United Way of Genesee County, which is where the Flint water crisis has happened. So obviously they paid a little custom to put this banner across the top, but it definitely gets your attention to donate to the Flint Water Fund. Please collect here. They literally collect millions of dollars in the last couple of years through their website because of their need in their area, specifically designated for the Flint water crisis. I just want you to keep in mind that you never know when your organization is going to be that disaster organization that the entire world is looking at and ready to donate to you. That's why it is so important to make sure your payment processor is in place, ready to go. You've got even disaster pages. We have people who have disaster pages set up and unpublished just in the event that they ever need them. You hope you don't, but you definitely want to be prepared. And do know that if you find yourself in a disaster situation, you reach out to OneEach. We got you. We're gonna drop whatever. Well, we're not going to drop people, but we're going to make you a priority, and we're all going to jump in and take care of stuff for you, and are going to charge you for it, which is going to help you get your work done. I mean, that's the passion of the work we do and the world we live in. We are here to help you guys.
Well, and we can also be kind of like an extension of your office too. I mean, I remember last year during Harvey, we had one of our United Ways in Texas. Her office was completely flooded. She's like, I'm standing up to my waist. My computer's down. All of my files are like paper and they're just soggy. I can't get on the internet to do anything. And I sat with her for like an hour and a half, just like making it like adjustments over the phone to her website, getting everything out there. I even sent emails on her behalf, like out to like local programs. So again,
Yeah.
we are here to help when you are, especially in a crisis. Always reach out.
Yep. I think I'm running out. Oh, I'm just logged into here. I was just going to comment on a couple of things, kind of going to the theme of this this webinar, which is best practices. And I just want to stress the images piece, and a couple of pointers I want to make for you guys on images, because that is a key best practice for you on your website, is to have good images and to use what's called advisory titles. See how it says this is ADA compliant, and that popped up on the picture? That's an advisory title. If you're setting pictures on your site, you might want to do things like setting an image to 100% width, which this is, to making sure your images are responsive. Be sure you're checking your website on your phone and that it's adjusting and that pictures aren't stretchy on your phone. If they are, we have lots of tutorials and can show you how to go about adjusting and updating them. But just real quick on this, let's see here. When you are in with an image and putting it on the site, in order to make it responsive, you want to unlock the ratio and delete the height. You can set it at a percentage or an actual pixel width, and it will not be stretchy when on a phone. You also want to go to your advanced area and add an advisory title. You should do this with every picture, and you should put advisory titles, honestly, with every menu item as well. And that will,
when you're linking on a page, whether it's to another page on the site or even, to a file, also there's a little area in that links under advanced for an advisory title. So again, it's not required, but it's very, very helpful.
And it is an ADA compliant, so that audio readers can read advisory titles, and it is also good for search engines. So it is very recommended that you do that. That's one of the first things people will look for as far as your usage of your site. Okay, Miss Emily actually did better going through stuff than I thought it would. Did you have a few things you wanted to show? Because we really,
as we wind down. Okay. It's only just a couple, I promise.
Yep. Okay, so let's switch out to Emily's screen. Are you taking it or am I throwing it at you? I'm trying. My mouse is bouncing. I had a bouncing mouse today.
Oh man, my mouse, the batteries died in it earlier today, just as soon as I started our meeting. So I was like, hey, join my meeting.
I wonder if that's my problem. That's a good idea.
And so Allison had mentioned, hopefully you guys can see my screen now too. Allison had mentioned the payroll deduction. She'd shown a very basic page. But this is, you can make your payroll deduction or your pledge pages very, very specific to, an organization or like an employer. You can switch out that background image. They have an actual image in here. They also put in their campaign video. They are giving somebody the ability to donate by a credit card. So if they didn't want to do a payroll deduction through their workplace, then they could donate right there instead by credit card. And you can be as detailed as you need to be, or as simple as you need to be when it comes to these pledge forms. So you can say, how much you're going to give per pay period, what's your pay period. You can collect as much information as you need, and also give them, designation options too. So again, with your pledge cards, you can definitely put them on your website. Allison had also shown you some good web form examples, but I also want to let you know that if you have a very long web form area, similar to how they kind of had those expandable boxes within the web form that you can kind of open up an area, instead of doing that, you can also, it would require you to submit a support ticket, but you do have the ability to actually put your fields into columns. So that does, in some cases, create a little, more space for you within a page, so that way you're not continuously scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So again, that is an option. It will require a support ticket to do, but we do have the ability to put your web form fields into columns. And then I also wanted to show, we do have the ability, I mentioned expandable boxes, but this is actually more like an expandable box or an accordion box. Within a page, you have the ability, through custom programming, you can have a box that opens up when you click on the title, and you would be able to edit these items, you'd be able to change the title as well as the content in there. And the cost to add these is per page. It's not per expandable box. So you could have, 10 boxes on the same page, but that is an option. Of course, we would match it to your theme, so that way it looks nice. And then last but not least, I also wanted, for those of you who are really interested in calendars, there is an option to be able to filter in a calendar. It does usually cost custom programming, but you can filter. In this case, they're filtering by location, but you could also filter by like a program type. So maybe you have board events, maybe you have volunteer events, maybe you have different types of programs or something else like that. So you can kind of have several different types of events listed here, and then you can filter out so you only see a certain type of events. In this case, I can filter out for a specific location. And then I could then, click on the actual event and either register or just see the event details. So that's also something to think about is, if you'd like to filter your calendar events or anything else, that is an option. It does require custom programming to get started, but we can definitely help you out with that too.
Okay. You guys have been very quiet. Was there any questions or anything in particular you were wanting to see? I know we're basically out of time. Hopefully you got some neat ideas of the things that we've shown and possibly generated some thoughts for yourself on stuff you might want to do. Just going to close out with my little closing questions. If I can find them. They're here. Come on, play. It always does that. There we go. Is my tips screen up?
It is indeed.
Yep. All right. Just a couple of reminders for you guys. Organize your menu. Use those drop-down deals with the menus. Put them on footer menus. Remove, I didn't mention this, remove old content and unused pages. Don't forget, that is definitely a best practice. Be aware that when you Google things on your site, if you have old content that is not unpublished, it is still findable. You have people calling and going, gosh, I thought this event was on this date, but on the website it says this date. And you're like, no, it doesn't. It's because they Googled and found an old page and they think that that's current, and it's not. So remove your old content. Change out your pictures regularly. Test your donation page. Be sure to emails or replies are set up. That's a biggie on your contact us pages on any of your forums. Be sure you have those email replies set up to send to you, because all of a sudden you don't realize you're not getting something. Keep your text light on your page. Make sure it's scannable. Use those things like the advisory type. Do your Google Analytics and have the reports set up and check those out on a regular basis. And if I can't learn this lesson by now, I should be shot. I keep trying to unlink them. Use the supported site and consider site maintenance if you have any questions on anything. And if you're not on a responsive website, by golly, it's way past time. You need to do that. Okay, there you go. That's our last screen. And we thank you so much. Have a great day. We'll hang on if there's any questions, and we hope this has been interesting for you.
And if you ever need any best practices, other best practices, always reach out to Allison or I.
Or if you're sitting there going, hey, I think we should do this, ask. We've probably done it, or something similar.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, Emily. Take care.
Thanks, Allison. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.